Welcome to Tough Crowd, and I use the term crowd loosely. As you can see, we had to get our staff to sit on the left side of the goddamn bleachers. Excuse my language. We're already finished. We just started. All right, the goal of this show is to get people to talk on TV the way they talk in the privacy of their own homes, without regard to their physical safety, their careers, or their car windshields. We live in a country where people are afraid to say how they really feel. Ironically, the only place I hear the truth is in comedy clubs. Comedians may be perverts, lazy, selfish, and bad dressers, but they don't lie. So if you can't watch people's honest opinions without fighting, booing, or boycotting, you can check out a repeat of the Gilmore Girls on another channel, stupid. Well, welcome to the Tough Crowd program. A lot of things going on. The Episcopalians appointed the first gay bishop, and half the congregation wants to leave. Isn't it amazing that people can be hypocrites? If it wasn't for gay men, there wouldn't be a church. Be honest. Do you know a lot of... Come on. I'm talking about all the Christianity. Do you know a lot of straight guys that can wake up at 5 o'clock on a Sunday morning and put on colorful robes, make sure the altar's right, the chalices are shined, the vestments, and the stained glass? Enough already. No gays, no church. We all know that. And, no, that's the truth. Now the old Leno-Letterman feud is back in the news. Leno and Letterman. NBC President Jeff Zucker says that Leno has won the late-night wars over Letterman. But the interesting part of the article, which most people did not pick up, but I picked up, is where it says right here, well, it's in here, believe me, they have both been affected by the mysterious disappearance of young male viewers. Who else starts at 11:30? Yeah, I'll tell you who. Also, I'm gonna be rich! I'm gonna be rich! Welcome to a happy show known as the Tough Crowd Show. Tonight we're here talking about this new book called The Faith of George W. Bush. It talks about his conversion to born-again Christianity, and apparently it's a big expose and scandal that he uses his Christianity in the country. Only in this country does a guy go from being a cokehead to a religious creep, and it's a negative thing. All right, look, people are worried. Well, a lot of people are saying Bush's Christianity might creep into his policy. Do you know anyone whose worldview doesn't creep into their decisions? Stupid. Here's what I say. In my opinion, if you try to say that somebody's not qualified for their job because of their religion, isn't that you violating separation of church and state? Yeah, I'm not stupid. And I'll tell you something else. And it's not like I'm defending fundamentalist Christians. I don't particularly care for them because I'm pro-abortion and anti-supercuts. But I just think that because that doesn't mean the other side is evil, just because I feel that way. Now, CBS has pulled the Reagan miniseries. As usual, the conservatives and the liberals are both showing their awful double standards. On the one hand, I feel like the conservatives, it's payback for the way they did Clinton. And that was wrong. On the other hand, to say you're politically unbiased and then cast Barbra Streisand's man, James Brolin, as Reagan, yeah, that's not a message of where that movie might go philosophically, right? Now, in the interest of the artistic expression amendments that our forefathers died for, a new porn star reality show is coming on. And if you think people on Fear Factor eat disgusting things, wait till you save that moan for the end of this. Wait till you see that pretty but learning disabled runaway taking a trachea full of failed musician DNA. Welcome to Tough Crowd. Oh, excuse me. The show formerly known as Tough Crowd. We're calling it by its new name. Colin Quinn, trying his hardest to be a gentleman, while his buddy Nick DiPaolo dares to question him on his topics, who would really like to throw a nice right hand right in his Italian face right now. And his stupid friend Jim Norton, Keith, all those, Patrice, the only one that's well behaved is Giraldo. It's always been that way, because he went to Catholic high school, really. But we're not here to talk about that, folks. We're here to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about the priest thing, the Catholic high school, you know, they're going to this thing about Catholic schools, drug testing in Catholic schools, and I'm not going to make a stupid played-out priest joke, ha ha ha, because priests didn't give you drugs. They get you drinks, and then you get, unless you count roofies as drugs, but you know, in those days they didn't even call them that. But how about Bush has to go to the Supreme Court just to cross the border to get criminals, okay? It's outrageous, folks. I say the Middle East, let them handle their justice. They have a good justice system over there, if you look at it. It's worked that well since the Old Testament. They haven't changed a law. You know, because first of all, you know, what do? They'll arrest. Over here we have a jury of our peers, but it's moral relativity. Over there, they have a system of trial by jury, where if you get raped, you go on trial, and then 12 village elders throw 100 miles an hour fastballs at your burger in a sandstorm. So they got that going for them. They don't have a jury box, they got a bullpen. And I'll tell you something else, folks. I was in court there once. I'm not kidding. Instead of the Lady of Justice, there was a statue of Cy Young. Now, you think I made that up, don't you? All right, I did, folks. Damn it. We're starting the show. I don't care what kind of anticlimactic begin. Welcome to Tough Crowd. I would like to apologize that I got sick Thursday. I missed the actual show. I had trichinosis and I had hallucinations. And I was very sick. But I would like to say thank you to all the regulars on the show for their concern, because all the guys at work here that you see us as being friends, here's some of the emails and get well cards they sent me. It's unbelievable. Norton, from what I heard, called our friend Robert Kelly and thought the show was canceled permanently, so he panicked. Then he calls him back and he goes, "Oh, it was just for the day. Oh, thank God," and hung up without asking if I was better. Greg Giraldo didn't call. Too busy working on the pilot, Greg. See if I can play the goofy white guy who mispronounces Spanish words on your show. Yeah. Hey, what is that, a tortilla? Mr. Patrice and Keith, I didn't expect calls from, because the black guys can't call their white friends, because if the other black comics found out about it, they get accused of playing up to Massa. Okay? It's true, which is a really healthy way to live life in a multicultural society in the 21st century, like the Scottsboro boys. Now, on to the news. Terrorists bombed the Baghdad hotel that Deputy Defense Secchi Paul Wolfowitz was staying at. I like to say Secchi, you know, mix it up. They missed him by one floor. Wolfowitz is Jewish. You don't upset a Jew when they're at their hotel. You know he was arguing with that front desk clerk the whole... You're not charging me for the full day for that. Yeah. Oh, I know I didn't tell you about the early checkout. Yeah, I didn't tell you about the early checkout. You didn't tell me at the Daisy Cutter taking out the minibar, all right? There's a lot of ethnic tension. The Dominicans were complaining because a character on Law and Order called them animals. I love Dominicans. Everybody knows they're not animals. They're human beings. They put their socks on. Well, all right, they don't wear socks, but... They don't wear socks. How are you supposed to do a realistic show about anybody when everybody talks nice about everybody else? You're going to put some Klansmen on TV going, "We're going to hang that African-American." That's why every criminal in the movies has to be this Eastern European white guy. They changed the sum of all fears from Middle Easterners to white supremacists. I can't wait till they do the Osama bin Laden story starring Greg Kinnear. Welcome to Tough Crowd. That's not so hard, is it? Today, we're talking about violations of rights based on two creepy stories that happened yesterday. The first story is that there's a jail in Macy's for people who are accused of shoplifting. There's a jail where you can actually, if you don't want to deal with the cops, they'll deal with you in there. You pay 5 times the penalty or something. Now, I know how that is. I spent 2 years in Target prison. I'm not kidding. I was sentenced to Nordstrom's, but a judge said it was overcrowded. And it was, my cousin had a hard, he was in Home Depot. I'm not kidding. They make you build your own cell in that place. They had him tied up with a garden hose and to a 5-piece patio set. The hardest time I ever did, and this is not funny, I really, they sodomized me with a totes umbrella in TJ Maxx. All right. Now, luckily, they brought some body oil at Crabtree and Elville, but it was still pretty brutal, you know? All right, story number 2 is there's a New York law professor who resigned after technicians found kiddie porn in his computer. All right, first of all, if you're into kiddie porn, you better learn how to fix your own computer, all right? If this guy is dumb enough to be a pedophile, then he calls them in, "Hey guys, something's wrong with my files, could you know?" He does what he gets. And I believe, here's where the whole death penalty thing, and this is why I think it's important. If you're into kiddie porn, whatever happened, I understand, but I know you missed the loosest interpretation of humanity living together that we possibly could have. So we gotta, you know, just kill you and you re-audition for the human race in a couple of 100 years. You know what I mean? Should we go to war with Iraq? Is it an invasion, a liberation, an occupation? If you're French, you say, "N'allez là." That means don't go there. If you're Israeli, you say, "Go there." If you're any other country, you say, "I don't know, I want to help America. I don't know what to decide. If I could deal with these starving people in my country, I'd love to get on your side." The people that are against it say Iraq has nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. But even if Saddam Hussein wasn't directly involved in 9/11, you know that son of a bitch laughed when he heard about it. Hi, fans. I want to talk today. I was watching John Kerry. He was outraged by the behavior where the soldiers humiliated the Iraqi prisoners. Come on, John. It's a little fun and games, John. Didn't you ever want to have a little fun and games, John? Out there in the Mekong Delta after a firefight, you're still all wound up. You got a couple of VC captives sitting there, smirking at you. It's your boat, John. They don't laugh at you in your boat. Make him stop laughing, John. That never happened. Then Bush gets on Arab TV to apologize for these events. As if the average Arab gives a damn. They're laughing at our weakness and our fake solemnity and piety. The average Iraqis who recognized those guys in the photos were probably terrorized by them, and the only part they didn't like is that they were kept alive at the end. We don't get the Middle East culture at all, okay? And I'll tell you where this civilization clash really came to a head. It can be traced back to Brooke Burke when she started Wild on E, okay? Because first they kept it cool, the usual party spots, Ibiza, some Greek island. Then suddenly she's in Morocco. I was like, whoa, be careful, this could be trouble. Because Morocco consider themselves to be Arabs. They're not, they're like Brazilians, you know, they stay up late and they like to party. But they speak Arabic, so they mistake themselves for Arabs, but they're close enough to the real Arabs in the Middle East that one of Brooke's titty and ecstasy parties woke them up and they're like, hey, what's going on over there? Then they see the whole Western decadence and they track Brooke's route. They realize Spain to Greece, Morocco, and they realize it's the same route the Crusaders took, you know, back in the day. Mecca can only be nearby. She's like the advanced team. In the old days, they'd use like the missionaries. Now it's the trust fund Eurotrash and the Coke whores. But, you know, Well, welcome to the show. You're probably all wondering, how did he get his own show? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, is affirmative action. You know, people say you should get your job on merit, which is true. You should only get your job on merit. You ask anybody, hey, how'd you get your job? What do they say? I knew somebody who got theirs on merit. They got me in. Finally, a crowd that laughed at that one. When you go in anyway, you have to throw a name around. You know, if you have one to throw. How do you think I got this job? I walked in, Comedy Central, I said, I know Mo Rocca. Oh, well, now did you hear this? We're sending 1,000 New York City cops over to Iraq to restore order and help set up the police force. Now, they're not going to stand out. A couple of dozen Irish guys in Jets jackets, you know. Hey, genius, come here. You live here? You with the beard. Come here. Officer, that's not my camel. The Kobe, today I was watching the Kobe Bryant thing. His lawyers, first of all, it's hot in here the past 2 weeks. It used to be very cold. I know nobody at home cares, and you people barely care, but still, I wanted to say it. Now let's talk about what I was talking about, Kobe Bryant. His lawyers said they want to make sure that the jurors approve of interracial dating if they're going to sit on the jury. That's how stupid these lawyers are. You should want racists that don't approve of interracial dating, because they'd find him not guilty. They'd be like, ah, she deserved it. Bring that black man up into a room. And what kind of question is that in a rape case? Do you believe in interracial dating? That's a very loose interpretation of a date, you know? That's giving interracial dating a bad name. They should ask if you believe in interracial rape if you're going to do it, you know? I mean, when they asked the jurors in the Scott Peterson trial, do you believe death begins at conception? No? Hey folks, this is Tough Crowd, the show that will end all world problems or die trying. Now, a lot of black people I know say whites are racist. Really? Is that why we try to walk, talk, and act like you? It's just the opposite. All most whites want is to be told they're cool by a black person before they die. You see a white guy in a good mood, what's up? Black dude said I was just like a brother. Hey, congratulations. I can't wait till I get certified. It's going to be on your job application soon. You'll be like, well, sorry, black dude said you were cool, it says here. Is that true? Yeah, it was 3-on-3. He said I played like a brother. Oh. Can I call him to verify this? No, this phone shut off, actually. But I ask you, why is it uncool to be white? Thanks for coming to Tough Crowd. I'm in the middle of eating something. I've got some comedians here who are going to say what they really think, not realizing that what they're really doing is committing career suicide. Because when I was growing up in my neighborhood, jobs and schools, and all were racially mixed. We insulted each other based on stereotypes. Irish were drunks, Italians were dumb, blacks were criminals, and the Puerto Ricans had 3 kids by the time they were 12. Now, was that stereotyping or objective journalism? That's what we're going to find out tonight. I hate to say it, but I'm obsessed with the Scott Peterson trial. Here's why, because Mark Galapagos, whatever his name is, asked Amber Fry if Scott Peterson ever said he loved her yesterday, and she said, not in those words. So, ladies, the illusion continues. Even in the midst of a murder trial, she can't bring herself to say he didn't love her. Because she thinks he did love her, and so do all her friends. He used other words. He missed you. He thought about you, Amber, right? That's sort of the same thing. You know that doesn't mean love. So, Amber, the question becomes, why do you think he loved you? This is a tough one, honey, but say it with me like I'm Dr. Phil. You think he loved you because you think he killed his wife for you. Admit it, Amber, there's a part of you that thinks he killed his wife so he could be with you. I know it's terrible, but let's call it the way it is. When you heard he killed his wife, you were shocked and disgusted and horrified, but maybe also a little bit flattered. And you know you're going to throw it in the face of the guy you end up with. You can guarantee that. When you ask him for one of the myriad of little favors that you don't necessarily need, ladies, but you need us to do to prove something to you. So when this guy refuses to go with you to visit your friend's new baby, you'll say, well, my last boyfriend killed for me. I don't see what the big deal about taking an afternoon. You're not going to do anything but lie around and watch the Olympics. You said you don't even like the Olympics, so you're going to sit around and watch stuff you don't even like. Welcome to Tough Crowd. Nobody wants to hear any more Michael Jackson jokes, but he keeps doing things. CBS might pull their Jackson special now. CBS has to pull a show every week now. If you want to predict who's in trouble in the news, look at their programming board. They really are finished. I think that the point is that at this point, any parent would let their kid go to Michael Jackson's. Why would they let him there? Unless the kid's like looking to come home with a taint by numbers job. That's right, I said. Oh. But that is not to let the rubber glove one off the hook. The rest of the monologue will again be about the personal dramas of some audience members, because in the individual lies the universal. So once again, you hear good news about race relations and the economy, yet Lorraine Arachi just got laid off after 9 years. She's never been out of work. Her company moved to China. You might want to go down to Miami tomorrow, Lorraine, and throw a bottle at that WTO protest, you know? With all the crazy kids with the thing and the, you know, Starbucks, I don't know what they do. Then you got Aldo Malaspina, who was trying to get a cab over there, and one cabbie pretended to be off duty, and so the enterprising and mischievous Aldo jumped in the parked cab, drove it a block, and left his own keys in the cab. You want to talk about cause and effect? This is like it's like a Mos Def poem waiting to happen. Seriously. Then you got the spiritual side of life, thank God, in these troubled times. Scott Hisley in the audience over here was on the bus. A guy asked to use his cell phone, then asked for God and spoke for 20 minutes. John, Scott, first of all, who the hell... You should tell that story to Joan of Arcadia, first of all, but listen. John, Scott, I think I speak for all of us where I say, you know, next time have the balls after 5 minutes ago, give me my damn cell phone back, you son of a bitch. Let's start the show, folks. Welcome to Tough Crowd. Today we're going to talk about Bush and the Saudi royal family connection. The House of Saud is in effect, y'all. There's a lot of scuttlebutt about how on the day after September 11th, President Bush personally allowed members of the Saudi and bin Laden families to leave the country without being interviewed by the FBI. Now, our whole country has been business partners with the Saudi Arabians since the 70s. And we're ashamed of them in front of our country, and they're ashamed of us in front of their country. I'm sure it's like, you know, there are people like, you still talk to the Americans? No, no, oh, no. Well, you know, once in a while, but you still do business? No, not a lot. Not like the old days. And that's basically what Bush is saying, you know. So, what else? New evidence surfaced yesterday that both Osama and Hussein are still alive. Now, I think that's better for the war, because when they die, it's all martyrs and mythology. But if they're still alive, people will be like, what have you done lately? Like John Lennon, we still mythologize him, but Paul McCartney is still great. But it's like, hey, Paul, good to see you. What have you been up to since the Beatles? I put out 300 albums, mate. Oh, right, I'm sorry. I've been busy. Not the best impression. Saddam, Super Mario Brothers martyr Hussein is still alive. You know, but here's the news between him and Osama. Osama's like the quiet. Saddam's like the big business evil guy. Money, property, always in the suit, the yellow suit, you know what I mean? And Osama is like the quiet, like in the forest, kind of unplugged terrorist, you know what I mean? He's down there like, yeah, you know. He's like Dave Matthews, and Saddam's more like Limp Bizkit. It's like, he's as legitimate of a threat as Osama is. He's just overproduced. Ha! Well, big night in Iowa last night. John Kerry. Well, I mean, he's a Vietnam vet, sincere guy. That new haircut doesn't hurt. He'd be a good president. As, you know, as long as you don't mind staring at the Grim Reaper face for 4 years. That mortician face of his. He called Dick Gephardt after Gephardt lost. I'm very sorry for your loss. I recommend the pine coffin. He's a cadaverous Boris Karloff. And then you got John Edwards, who's just the opposite. He's too happy, too upbeat. He should be in the grand ballroom at the Marriott in Charlotte, like giving a real estate motivational seminar. You know? It's like if I told you you could make me the president at home in your spare time and not pay property tax, you'd say, John, you're crazy. Now you got, by the time this show airs, Bush will have given his State of the Union address. You know, all day his stomach hurt. He's not good at that, you know? He's not good at the address. He makes you cringe with his fake happiness. He's not a happy person. Even he cringes when he's speaking, you know, Bush. He's like, I believe that America's on the right track, you know. Here's me trying to support my president when he's giving the State of the Union address. I'm like this. No, don't say, Then he's got Dick Cheney. Nobody buys Dick Cheney still alive. He's sitting there behind him. He never moves. They set him up an hour beforehand, before they let the audience in. They put on his glasses like Weekend at Cheney's, you know? You know who should be president? Ralph Nader. Because he's turned down millions in corporate slush money. He's been running for 60 years. He ran against Truman. He can't even register. They won't even let him register in some states. Do you understand that? I thought the whole charm of our land was that anybody could run for president, and they say, no, you can't register and stuff. You have to be able to run in all the states to have a chance. They were even counting Hawaii's votes this year, I heard. I'm serious. Which is ridiculous, be honest. I know we made the mistake, but they shouldn't be allowed to vote. They're not serious enough, you know what I'm saying? That's like saying, hey, let's let Carnival Cruises vote. Let's let Sandals vote. Same with Alaska. We shouldn't let those bail-jumping idiots vote either. I'm serious. Keep ice fit. You hear me, Alaska? Yeah. They don't even get TV. I don't know why I'm wasting my time. You keep ice fishing, you flat-faced fools. And you leave the government to the real 48. You understand me? Well, yesterday, as you know, was my birthday, but it was also D-Day. And I'll tell you something. Michael Moore and his pals must have been horrified by all that jingoistic celebration. So I wrote a special D-Day piece for him. All right. Here come the pawns in the American Corporate Anti-Socialist Workers' Party, pulling a preemptive strike on the German people, landing those GM-made boats on the shores of France, polluting the environment and doing collateral damage. This attempt at world domination when we weren't even attacked by Germany, but by Japan. Just let you know, the Roosevelt administration and Churchill have ulterior motives. The Russians are naively going along with us because they don't realize that our goal of fascist global free trade is a clever trap. And although Hitler has killed 6 million Jews, we have killed many Germans, so who are we to say we're better than him? We are destroying Germany, and the Germans are fighting us fiercely because we're trying to tell them that our culture of no gas chambers is better than their culture. Who are we to judge? We should look at our own flaws and maybe set up some sanctions against Hitler until he decides to stop mass murdering people. Well, I have on a blue shirt. I know, that means nothing, but I just thought I'd say it anyway. Folks, what do you think? You're sitting home, half dozing off, stoned. Just wanted you to know I had a blue shirt on. Sorry if that's not compelling. Well, how about this? The Supreme Court. You're not stoned. That was me that messed it up. Booted out that guy who wanted to remove under God from the Pledge of Allegiance. The guy wanted to remove under God from the... I don't get that. God is an abstract. You can't complain about the concept. If it comes down to an individual religion, okay, but God in and of itself can't be protested. It's not an entity or even like one philosophy. It's subjective. Not to mention, if this guy has that kind of energy and he directs it towards this cause, he might be a little bit of a crackpot, which is another word that has been missing from the national dialogue lexicon, whatever you want to say. Crackpot. You used to call people a crackpot and everybody knew what you meant. I don't know when we stopped saying it. I guess like when they started using stainless steel or whatever, but it's also they don't use it because it's a judgmental thing. You can't use judgmental terms anymore. Can't call somebody a crackpot, a creep, a bum, a no-good rat bastard, a chiseler, a little brat. Well, you know what I think? There's a lot of crackpot, chiseler, no-good rat bastard, bratty creeps around today, and they think they're getting away with something. But I see you, you stupid bums, and one of these days, you're gonna get what's coming to you. Let's start the show. Now, welcome to Tough Crowd. I'll tell you right now, folks, it's getting scary. It's World War III's coming. There's only one way to prevent World War III. We take it outside. If you don't want to wreck your house when you're gonna have a fight, you take it outside. We don't want to destroy the planet. That's where Mars comes in, okay? Any country has beef, they take it up to Mars. Because it's perfect for a fight. It can still sustain life, but it stinks. You know what I mean? It's like a vacant lot. It's ugly and it's useless unless we start fighting up there. Just a suggestion, a brilliant one. I was watching the 9/11 Commission hearings today. Janet Reno on TV. Don't make like the best thing. She was sitting there. The committee guy goes, "Did you okay Bin Laden's assassination?" She stopped and looked at the chairman and goes, I didn't realize if this is classified or not, which is kind of a cool way of saying, you're damn right, you might be next. Shut your mouth. Then another guy asked her about it again, and she gave him a look like, do you want me to go Waco on you, Pops? And now the big thing they're trying to find out in the 9/11 hearings is what's the culture of the FBI. I love when they talk about culture of a job. Every job is the same culture, okay? Everybody badmouths the other departments. They think they do all the work. They gossip about who's having sex with who. And then they download dumb jokes to each other. That's the culture, you know? Hello, folks. Welcome to Tough Crowd. See, they say we don't misspend. Look at this. We got walnuts. I worked at Foxwoods Casino this weekend with Rich Voss and Greg Giraldo. They both tried to ruin my dream. Even Giraldo, who's the guy that you kind of, out of our whole dented and damaged posse, you'd think he wouldn't self-sabotage every step of the way. Even he's starting to unravel. Greg, I know you're on the road watching. Half hour late, the fury on his face because they wouldn't pay him. He was trying to be you could tell he wanted to cry. Remember the old days, Greg? You wouldn't be late. There was no traffic because you had the motorcycle weaving in and out of traffic, waving at girls. But there you were this time, stuck on I-95 in the Suburban, picking Cheerios out of the grill. Wondering if he had the balls to drive over the divider. And Voss, here's the thing about Voss that kills me. First of all, I'm not kidding. It's like Foxwoods, like a beautiful room, 1,700 seats sold out, but it doesn't matter. But I don't do it for ego. But anyway, standing room only, doesn't matter. Voss, we walk in, first thing he says to me, and you're gonna think I'm lying, he goes, you would be offended if I sell CDs afterwards? No, not at all. It's only our big chance at the casino money. Let's go out and, you know, turn it into a Turkish bazaar halfway through. Hey, I'll help you. You know what I mean? Give you some stickers. I'll hand out flyers for you, you creep. Then we're on stage with the woman, Lisa, that manages the place, and he has to go like, this is how low self-esteem. It's a beautiful theater. First he goes to me, this is show business. And I actually was sincerely along with him. I was so excited. I was like, you're right. You know, instead of saying, shut your mouth, could be it. Then he goes to the lady, does B.B. King still do comedy too? Covering his bets. Because he wants to MC an open mic. Then we're walking through the casino, people going, hey, Colin Quinn. Hey. So I go to Voss, this must be killing you, Voss. Everyone's recognizing me. He goes, actually, it reminds me when I was on Last Comic Standing, you know, because they wouldn't recognize the other people, they'd always recognize me, so this is very humbling. First of all, your whole career is humbling. But second of all, let me get this straight. They recognize you then, but when I'm there, people can only recognize one person at a time. They can't recognize two people that they were, so, I mean, I walked around with Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Sandler. They recognize me too. I'm not saying they don't make me hold the camera and take pictures of them with Seinfeld, Rock, and Sandler, but they recognize me. That's the answer. No, I'm just kidding. Hey. Welcome to Tough Crowd, folks. I'm standing on this bag. George Tenet, the CIA director, finally hung it up today. He said it's for personal reasons. I would love to have heard that phone call. Dick Cheney calls, hey, George, you got a death wish? George's like, well, I still feel the administration... Walk out before you get carried out, you understand? And the reason was that when they were trying to justify the WMDs at the meeting, Bush said, are you sure we have good information on this? And George Tenet goes, it's a slam dunk. 4 words that bit him in the ass. And you know, he probably used that expression all the time. It's like, it's a slam dunk, you know? And now, of course, all his friends and family are going to be using it against him for the next 20 years of his life, you know? His family, hey, Dad, is there milk in the refrigerator? Yes. Are you sure, Dad? Would you even call it a slam dunk, maybe? He goes out drinking with his friends. They're like, hey, here comes Kevin Garnett. Hey, slam dunk. What's going on now? 4 words that ruin your life. Like Kobe, when he said to that girl at the hotel, yeah, come on up. My name is Colin, and I am a racial profiler. When the Enron scandal broke, I thought to myself, this is going to be older white guys in business suits. When there's a shooting outside a hip-hop club, I think this is going to be young black guys in rock-aware. Does this make me a racist or a person living in reality? Grr. Hey, welcome to Tough Crowd. A new study with college kids by the American Psychological Association has found there's a connection between violent lyrics and aggressive behavior. Now, the scariest thing is that little kids listen to the same music as college students, and they're really easy to get going. I'll tell you a true story. My cousin Maud and Ian, they used to live in Queens, shout out, and my cousin Maud and Ian, they were like 5 or whatever, and my cousin Maud goes, Ian's teasing me, so I'm like 11, you know, I'm a wise guy. So I go hit him with a hammer. I swear to God, she goes over and smashes him right in his head with a hammer. He's got like 40 stitches. The adults are like, what's wrong with you, Maud? And I'm looking at her like, there's enough hammers for everybody. But, and I never told that story till right now. So now my cousins are going to be like, oh, that son of a bitch. You know, I let her take the fall for me. That's how I am. Of course, violent music causes violent behavior. Everything violent causes everything. I'll say one thing about today's musicians, at least, okay? They may have violent lyrics, but at least they practice what they preach. At least they take their assassination attempts like a man. They just pick themselves up, dust themselves off, empty a clip into the competition's clothing store, and get back in the studio. Welcome to Tough Crowd. I keep reading about these discrimination lawsuits against McDonald's. First, a woman with a port wine stain was overlooked for a promotion, and today I was reading about a 400-pound man who's suing McDonald's because they wouldn't hire him because he's kind of unattractive. And ugly people get abused all the time. You know, it's a hard world out there. It's a mean world. What's more insulting than that is these people who try to appropriate the ugly people's pain, like these models that go, oh, I was ugly in high school. Well, you're 17 now, so when was that, 3 months ago? You lying whore. Go back to your table, do another line with that Eurotrash billionaire and his bisexual wife, all right? I think that what we should do, I have a solution, is that we should have Ugly Appreciation Day once a year, and all the hot girls just agree to sleep with one ugly bastard that day, and all the handsome guys will sleep with one skag, I believe we used to use the word. You say to Jennifer Aniston, look, you had a good life. You don't mind if Brad gives Millie the mole-covered nurse's aid a night she'll never forget? Tonight, we're going to talk about the death penalty. Now, I'm for it, but people go, oh yeah, but would you pull the switch? Yes, I'd pull the switch. I'd even pay money to, like Lance Bass did to become an astronaut. Actually, I'd pay money to pull the switch on Lance Bass. Now listen. Hello. Welcome to Tough Crowd. You know, folks, in the middle of serious economic problems, Congress is once again focusing on useless, feel-good propaganda like the new hate crimes legislation, where they will include sexual preference and gender to add extra time onto your sentence. You know, any slick criminal is going to get around this law. I got jumped the other night by some kids. This is true. While they were kicking my ass, the leader handed me a card that said, this gang does not discriminate based on race, ethnicity, or sexual preference. We abide by the EEOC and both our gang members and our victims. If you feel you were discriminated against during the commission of this assault, please call this number. You know, the crime's supposed to be less because they tell you not to take it personally, but you know what? That doesn't give you less stitches at the hospital. The amount of time people get in jail should be based on the amount of stitches you gave somebody, okay? Every 5 stitches, another 2 years. How is this not a thought crime? Welcome to Tough Crowd. Baghdad is a mess. The electricity is still out. The director of Iraq's power company was robbed of the country's wiring, then he got robbed of the emergency wiring, then the truck he drove the wiring in got stolen. Looting, carjacking, shooting at each other. Hey, these guys act like they've been democracy their whole life over there. I'll tell you what we have to do. We have to start shooting them, or the law-abiding Iraqis will turn on us. Because they're not Americans. They don't worship criminals. They're from a country where you can count the criminals on one hand. That's all they have, one hand. Because some people need structure. That's how it is. They can't handle freedom. Bobby Brown, after he left New Edition, he went crazy, right? Justin Timberlake, when he was under the iron thumb of that fat Lou Pearlman, he minded his big P's and Q's. Now he's like hanging out with rappers. People are playing practical jokes on him. He's turned into a damn joke, you know? Now the Shiites today, 10,000 strong, marched through Baghdad saying we want the U.S. out of our country, we want our own country back. That's great, fellas. How about just a couple of signs that say we want to rule ourselves, but thank you for liberating us from the guy that tortured and killed us for being Shiites in the past 12 years. Welcome to Tough Crowd. Folks, Iraq, the elections, the sniper, this news is serious, of course, but it gets a little repetitive, let's face it. Plus, the day is almost over. There's a half hour left. If you miss something crucial, it's going to be tomorrow by the time you can do something about it, so who cares? You know? So what I did was I had several audience members tell me some personal stories of theirs, and I made it into tonight's monologue, and here it is. Because I think the best way to look at life is not from TV or newspapers, but through the prism of the people that live it, okay? So let's start. People say the economy is bouncing back, but don't tell that to Jeff Anderson. His boss was yelling at him over the phone, so he blew a foghorn can into the phone and quit. And walked over to the unemployment office. Maybe you can get a job on Crank Yankers, Jeff. Now, the California fires have stopped, but Tony Baez was visiting her mom in the house filled with smoke, but they didn't leave because they weren't officially evacuated. Don't try to break up with her, boys. She don't scare off too easy. In crime news, Jeff Cairns, a San Francisco cop, got into a fight at the courthouse with a robbery suspect who didn't like the verdict. Mr. Cairns is recovering nicely in the studio audience here in New York City. In war news, Maura Alexander's brother just got back from the army in Iraq, and on the downside, of course, she got dumped by some guy because he said she's too young for him. Meanwhile, he's 26 and she's 21. That's a big age difference. What about Paris Hilton was 19 and Rick Solomon? Well, that's a bad example. But let's start the show. Today I opened the paper. It said they gave Dave Chappelle a deal worth $50 million. That's great for Dave. They forgot one thing. My show's contract is going to be up soon. I want $50 million. I'll close this show down. You think I'm playing, Doug? Lauren, you think it's a joke? You both know me for many years. You know I need money. Let me put it in another language that you don't understand from all phone calls that you haven't been giving me. Mucho dinero para mí. Oh, well, Colin, we don't need your show. Your ratings are so-so. What? No, say what you said again about my ratings. They were so-so? So. What does that mean? That you're not going to cough up my money? Do you think I won't play the race card? I'm not afraid to play the race card. You know that. You take care of your people first, the white people, me. If you don't, 11:30 in 2 weeks, you'll have a reunion of crossballs. Now with these new charges against him that he was ducking service, he should just go with the flow. Quit fighting. Play up your good points from that time. We know what you were. We know the guy. Just get up there tomorrow, give a speech, say, my fellow Americans, I'm going to tell you something. I did not do my duty in Vietnam. John Kerry did. But I fought here at home. And you can't see my medals, but they're there. And they're from a war, too, the drug war. I had my own sense of honor, and I was a man of principle in this war, in my way. Maybe I wasn't the guy you could rely on to pick up a rifle and shoot at people. But I defy anyone to look into my history and come up with one witness that says I ever burned them on a coke deal. You can't, because I didn't. If you gave me $50, I came back with $50 worth of blow. None of this sampling it in the car on the way back. See, to me, that's rationalization. If you wanted to give me a little bump when I got back as a thank you, great. If not, that was cool, too. We all had our role to play. I was kind of an ambassador. If some foreign dignitary came through, he left with a good feeling about America. So I've lived by my code, my principles, as John Kerry has. And speaking of people that don't live by the code, let me say this about Kitty Kelly, in her new book. For me, there's nothing worse than somebody who'd snitch and narc on somebody else, especially to their parents. Now I got to face the old man next week and lie to his face like I'm a damn teenager. Oh, no, Daddy, that's a lie. I wasn't getting high at Camp David. She was getting high. You know, blame it on Jeb like I used to. I don't know, something. But welcome to T to the C. Now listen, I have to say something to President Bush. Maybe I'll use this pipe. President Bush, I saw your speech last night. What's going on, President Bush? Is it the advisors? Is it the speechwriters? It's not funny. There are people like myself who are out here trying to defend you. I agree with what you're trying to do in Iraq, but you can't come out and hold a press conference and then not have answers to the questions. It makes you look bad. It makes me look bad. If you need a writer, I'll be glad to help you out. When you speak about the June 30th handover and a reporter asks you, who's it going to be handed over to? You can't say, I don't know. Do you think it's a cliffhanger? It's not The Apprentice. We want to know ahead of time. Secondly, don't bring Cheney with you to the 9/11 Commission. If you do, it can only be for one reason. You know, so have him text message you out of anything. But if you bring him, what you're basically saying to the American people is, I know this looks bad, but it would look worse if it was just me, believe me. I watched you last night. You're in the middle of a nervous breakdown, from what I could see. You got to get me on board, boy, or you are going down. Bush and Kerry are going on Dr. Phil. This is how it should be, in my opinion. You know, we should be looking into the psychological state of these two guys if they're going to be president. The guys will probably come out fine. The wives, another story. Laura Bush, if Dr. Phil can crack that wall, those smiling eyes of the Christian fundamentalists, you know? It's funny when you pronounce Christian correctly, but still, you get the point. Then Teresa Kerry, who speaks 7 languages, 8 if you count bitch. Well, you should have seen what I say on the live show. Well, this is the first time we've had two candidates that were whipped by their wives. I'll give them that much. I'll tell you who needs to be the next Dr. Phil family is Lindsay Lohan's family. Her father, Lindsay Lohan's father, got arrested again last night for fighting at Scores. Are you telling me nobody has offered this guy a reality show? If anyone fits the description of today's TV ready in today's culture, it's that Moonbeam, you know what I'm saying? Because he's got all the qualifications to be a star today. He's not an actor, but he's connected to somebody who's accomplished. He gets arrested all the time. He's got anger issues and a drinking problem, you know? And you know he's already got TV experience. He's probably been on Cops 4 or 5 times. Turn on the news today, all they're talking about is this hurricane. It's like the hot new thing. So you know now the media's going to be saturated, no pun intended, with hurricane shows, all right? This is what's going to happen. First reality show, it's going to be like Survivor Hurricane Ivan, you know, last trailer park standing, right? Then a celebrity tape with some star having sex during a hurricane, and then it becomes part of like the language. You have rappers saying, yo, this is a category 5 about to rain down on the studio gangsters. Then you have Bush and Kerry denouncing hurricanes and talking about how their opponent voted for legislation to outlaw plywood and sandbags. And then you have the VH1 World's Sexiest Hurricanes. And you have the Where Are They Now, talking about the old hurricanes from the 80s. And finally the hurricanes up sitting under Bruce Valanche on Hollywood Square. So. Baseball. You don't... No! Yo, what's up? What's going on, folks? First, you got CBS not apologizing for that Dan Rather 60 Minutes thing. CBS should apologize for 2.5 Men. You ever see that Charlie Sheen show? It really bugs me, that show, and I can't really tell you why yet, but I will know soon. CBS is getting too straight. First of all, Dr. Phil, as you know, who I'm obsessed with, he had some couple... No, but he had a couple on yesterday. After the show, the guy's like bad-mouthing him behind the camera, and the cameraman must have caught him. Dr. Phil, I swear to God, came backstage and gets in the guy's face. He's like, do you got a problem with me? And Dr. Phil, but he uses like his language, you inappropriate, non-communicatives. No boundaries, son of a bitch. I'll crack your skull with a free copy of my new book, Family First, you know. He's getting like, he's reminding me of Dog, the bounty hunter. You ever see that mullet head? He handcuffs people with his mullet. You ever see that bounty hunter? And he's a religious bounty hunter. He's like putting, I've seen this show many, he puts people in chokeholds. He's like, don't resist, Jesus loves you, I'm doing this out of, you know. And they don't even give him a gun. I guess he can't have a gun. He's an ex-con. He's got like a spray can of mace. He pulls it out like it's a gun. Like, people surrender because they think it's hairspray. They're like, no, don't make my hair look like yours, Dog, please. Speaking of hairspray, the other new show I watch is Growing Up Gotti. You ever see these maniac kids? They have the same temperament as like their uncles, but without the street environment. So instead of what they should be, you know, doing, like going around baseball batting gamblers that are late on their payments, you know, they're running around this big mansion screaming at each other, who used my conditioner? Who borrowed my styling gel, Carmine? I'm gonna kill somebody. You know, they remind me of like lions that were raised in captivity. So like they're genetically predisposed to roar, but they aren't sure why they're doing it. You know what I mean? It's gotta be a mixed blessing, don't you think, to be the Hamas new leader? It's like, congratulations, run. Hey, how would you like to be the new Hamas leader? I couldn't, thank you, no. There's other people that have been around. What about Hamid? No, you are too generous, my friend. You are the gangster, Emilio Wangster. You know. What else happened? They bombed a Sheraton yesterday in Baghdad, and they have a picture of this suspect that bombed that Sheraton. Yeah. Yeah, Paris Hilton joke with no sex. No, I'm the Mac. Now listen to me. Iraq is a dangerous place to stay at a hotel. I was over there. First of all, the Motel 6 motto is, we'll leave the light out for you. Then it's the only place I may give you a credit card for incidentals of your arms and legs. I didn't appreciate that one. I valeted my car, then I see it on the 6 o'clock news speeding into an army barricade. You know, I'd like to be a valet at that hotel. Every time you have to start somebody's car, they hit the deck. The valets have gray hair at 17, for crying out loud. I had my wake-up call, came out of a loudspeaker on top of a mosque. I'm serious. Nothing? All right. The mint. Oh, believe me, I'm not done. The mint on my pillow was ticking. All right. Look. Oh, then everybody steals the towels because they need something to wear to jihad that night. I'm telling you. Eric Rudolph, the Olympic bomber, was arrested the other day. And you know what the thing is? Nobody cares. That's our society. Even terrorists get played out after a few years, you know what I mean? Because he seems a little like, yeah, like 5 years ago, it'd be more interesting. But after 9/11, he lost his heat. He's still big, but he should have gotten it over with, you know? Kind of like, he's like a blind melon, okay? You know, you're kind of interested in what's going on with them, what they've been up to, but nobody really listens to that kind of music anymore. And it's like, Richard Jewell is kind of like the girl in the bee outfit, and maybe Scott Peterson is the Strokes, you know? People are like, oh, Scott Peterson. But at least Rudolph made it to the top 10 most wanted. You got to give him that. If you're going to be an evil criminal, your parents are going to be ashamed of you. But if you make the top 10 FBI most wanted, it's a little something, you know? Instead of my son's a killer. Welcome to Tough Crowd. There's a lot of tension in the world right now. Forget about the war in Iraq, Al-Qaeda, rogue states with nuclear bombs. I'm talking about Reuben and Clay, two Southern belles that have united our country. Ari Fleischer left his job yesterday, the stress. Christine Whitman left the EPA, the stress. Does Clay quit? No. Does Reuben quit? No. You don't think they both had hard times? You don't think Reuben walking to school, he's little, all the kids, fat boy, kicking him and stuff, you know? And Clay, I found out, was the first kid to get gay bashed in preschool, ever. Now look, but they are the face of America. Everything is interracial, as it should be, but there are still racial problems. One of them, in fact, is sitting behind the couch in a Len Dawson throwback. I'm kidding, but if I was you, I would have thrown that one back. Come on, folks. All right. Look, there's a lot of pressure for successful black people because they have to worry about being perceived as sellouts by their own people. So if you talk like this, all your people make fun of you for acting white. But have you seen the way white people act lately? They're like, yo, what's up? So pretty soon if you're black and you walk up to your friends like, yo, what's up? They're going to go, stop trying to act white. I was just, it's a coincidence. Folks, I hope. What bothers me the most is right now Patrice and Norton are trying to think of the most cruelest things I could say about my awful Irish legs. I just found my diary from when I was 18 today, from St. Patrick's Day when I was a kid. And here's what it said. I just found my diary, and today is St. Patrick's Day. I'm filled with pride over the coming together of my people and my culture, from William Butler Yeats to James Joyce to freedom fighters like Bernadette Devlin and Parnell and Wolfe Tone. It's been a journey at once tragic and poetic. A terrible beauty has been born, I believe the poet called it. I remember when I was little, my father would tell me about his father's escape from Belfast in 1921, and even show me some of the old letters where there were descriptions of the evil Orange men burning down Catholic neighborhoods and beating their drums so fiercely that their wrists would bleed. And then this is from 3 p.m. that day. Same day. Where did you go, you It's not funny! I don't have any money! Where did you go? I ripped my shirt! I just bought this shirt, it's new! I lost my wallet and I have somebody else's keys! What happened to my jacket? I'm freezing! I let that bitch wear my jacket! I thought I was gonna get laid! My nose! I'm freezing! Joe Lieberman resigned, though. And I think I speak for everybody when I say, I didn't know his daughters were such hotties. Jeez. If he kept them behind him, he might have done better, you know? Stupid. I would have had them behind me the whole time if they were my daughters. Believe me. People, I would have, well, it doesn't matter. But Al Gore's son had to go to rehab for pot, which is unfair. You try to listen to Al Gore talking for 21 years without a mood enhancer, you know? Now they got this guy, Warren Jeffs. You hear about this leader of the biggest polygamous sect, the Church of the PIMP? That son of a, well, and finally this guy that's selling rice into the State Department, this bastard, calls himself Fallen Angel. He was originally angry about the trucking regulations. He was like this angry trucker, fallen angel. It's like a horrible Showtime movie, but you know, the name Fallen Angel's hack. It's a little bit biblical, a little bit 80s hairband. Come on, good buddy. Hey, good buddy, change that satellite radio. So you're not speeding down I-95 with Skid Row blasting in your stupid ears, all right? Folks, here's what happened the other day. Osama bin Laden called an emergency meeting of the Finance Committee. He decided to cut the Taliban funding in half, this is true, to support the holy war in Iraq. That had to be a tough meeting for him, huh? He's like, Okay, fellas, we're all feeling the pinch. It's the economy. So for now, no more Toyota Land Cruisers. Suzuki makes a good all-terrain vehicle. It's moderately priced. I have a card from an infidel named Don Gresto from a place in Ohio known as Mid-State Suzuki, and he's telling me he can get us $300 for the same price we'd have to pay for 240 Land Cruisers. He said he's going to the wall for us on this one, and his boss would kill him if he finds out. So this is a man of honor who's prepared even to sacrifice his life to give us the best possible deal. I think we owe him our loyalty. If we pass the routine credit check at a time like this, you can count your real friends on one hand, which is a necessity for most of us. But what I'm saying is the days of the fighting off the rifles every time we drive into Kandahar are over. Just hold the rifles up and say something that sounds like a violent Quran quote. You know the drill. It'll have the same effect if you commit, you know. Okay, let's begin this now. Tonight, we're going to talk about the fact that online porno is now being blamed for over half the divorces in this country. I'm serious, you people. Now, you didn't know, I'm going to turn this into like a real passionate show. Now, folks, anybody who has experience with porno realizes that it is it's like the mafia. Once you go in, you can never go out. Because there's too much choice. Too many categories. Barely legal, over 60, big butts, little drunk teens, drunk teen college girls, blonde drunk teen college girls, petite blonde drunk teen college girls, girls who love oral, girls who crave oral, girls who wouldn't use the word crave, but they're not averse to oral, girls who don't love to give oral, but do it out of a sense of obligation to the guy. You know, they got a category of the ugly, sober, not petite friends sitting in the car waiting for the petite, blonde, drunk teen college girl who loves to give oral. Now, choice is made of soft, folks, from Adam and Eve. It is truly the devil's handiwork. And that's why I am no longer allowing people to switch this show on and off. You keep your hands off the remote and you watch the show till the end. Get it? Tough crowd. The big story, we caught Saddam now. I think he's innocent until proven guilty. I don't think he did it. But if he did, I think we have to look at the root causes of why he behaved like this. I think we have to find a way to bring this back to how we, America, caused the whole thing. How the U.S. is responsible for Hussein and Bin Laden and Arafat and all terrorists and all evil everywhere. This is how politically correct we are right now. Bush, even the right winger, Bush didn't go to church yesterday, he said, because he didn't want to be coming out of church when they said they caught Saddam. He thought it would offend Muslims. What do you want to be, coming out of OTB? I don't understand this. You want him next to a falafel stand like, hey guys. Now, the interrogators, this is another direct quote from today, said Saddam is answering all the questions like a, quote, wise ass. Now, we sent 300 New York cops have been over there for like 6 months, right? You know, that had to be them or their influence, because they always reduce it to the simplest terms, you know? It's not Saddam as a demonic, you know, genocidal tyrant unparalleled in modern history. One of the guys walking out, Jimmy, what's he like? Why is this? Osama is a bull buster. Okay, let's start the show. Happens in the world, nukes, Middle East famine. In this country, we are still dodging the race issue, especially towards summer. Like these Michigan race riots going on right now. I know every white person thinks the same thing we see it on TV. Is this the big one? Cleveland, Ohio this week, a 13-year-old girl was brutally beaten by a group of black and Latino kids. They were celebrating a yearly May Day ritual called Beat Up a White Kid Day. Now listen, the holidays always get me depressed, but especially I never like this one. I'll tell you something. It falls on a weekend, you don't even miss school, and in Compton it's actually a bank holiday. Now look, when I grew up, you'd walk down the hall in school. The first week I went to school, I came from like a white school, I was at mixed Ungawa, Black Power. All these kids were saying, Ungawa, Black Power, destroy, white boy. Now that was different, that was Brooklyn, that was a school song. But everybody knows that this happens to more to white kids than black kids in school. But this country, it doesn't get reported because white people have made a collective decision about 30 years ago that it's impolite, they should never talk about it, especially in the media. Even though even black people look at us like, what is wrong with you? You're not going to take that, are you? Yes, we are, as long as you keep our quality of life and not have to look in the eye. And to keep that, you need to have fall guys. And that's our other story, that 13-year-old girl and law enforcement. Bush just passed a new law that says federal agents have to stop racially profiling. But that means then stop profiling. That's good. Now in the radio call, it's going to be like, okay, the killer is a male, approximately 25, 150 pounds. What color is he? What does that have to do with it? What, are you racist or something? Which is owned by Viacom, is under scrutiny for the way they're pursuing Jessica Lynch for a multimedia deal. They've implied that if she appears on CBS News, this is not made up, she could host TRL, and then they'll throw in an Ashanti Ja Rule concert in her hometown. That should be very therapeutic when you're recovering from injuries like that. 1500 West Virginia Wigger stomping on your porch. I think this is great. She deserves everything that's coming to her. Because you know what? What's wrong with her being a celebrity getting paid? Instead of a poster of Christina Aguilera, the kid has a poster of Jessica Lynch. Instead of reading obsessively about J-Lo and Ben Affleck, we start reading more articles of the guy that cut his arm off on the mountain, you know? That guy should have his own series, like a how-to book on body part removal, like a Bob Vila show on how to survive. The American Medical Association would never allow it because it'd show people how to do your own operation. But we don't encourage people that really do it. Like Rosie O'Donnell, she's rich. She doesn't talk about it, but I'll talk about it. You know how much money she gave after 9/11? $10 million. Nobody talks about that. Bill Gates has given away billions. Ted Turner, billions lately. Instead of America's richest, why don't the front pages of like these magazines say the people that give away the most? I'm going to start it. I'm going to start selling posters of Mother Teresa, and I think every teenage boy will want one. Obviously, I photoshopped Cindy Margolis's body, but you keep Mother Teresa's face, and more importantly, you keep Mother Teresa's message. What happened? First of all, it looks like there's evidence that bin Laden and Hussein were working together. Now, what I'm going to say applies to the left, but it could just as easily apply to the right, in this case, the left. Anybody that said there was no connection, now you have to say you were wrong. Free speech is fine in this country, but when you're very vocal, it turns out you're wrong. You have to go on TV and say, I was an ass, okay? Now, nothing eventful happened to me this weekend because I had to go to a gig with Keith Robinson at Drexel U in Philly. He takes me to Roy Rogers because he's the king of the Turnpike. He's from Philly. We go to the Roy Rogers. I think it was managed by the Bloods. I'm not sure. I was one of the 3 white people there. And you know when you're the only white person with your black friend, they have to nod some secret signal to the blacks to let them know you get a pass? Like, what's up, man? Yeah. No, we don't notice that. Anyway, then we get to Philly, his hometown. He starts bragging about it. This is my town player, you know? Your town? Good. It looks like Grand Theft Auto 2, all right? There's guys in Revolutionary War dress selling crack behind the Liberty Bell. The Rocky statue has lesions on his face. The exit where Keith grew up doesn't even have a number. It's just a picture of a white guy with a line through him. But stupid Keith, he thinks it's beautiful because it's all he knows. He's from there, you know. He's driving me like we're in a gondola going through the Venice canals, you know. It's like, oh, Santa Lucia, hey, there's the Piazza San Marco, Santa Lucia. There's Iverson's posse shooting it out with a navigator full of Jamaicans. Oh, you know. All right, let's start the show. You know what? First of all, the continuing adventures of the drunken Russian Ivan, the hurricane, as he now goes after Louisiana. This guy is bouncing over. He's headed for New Orleans, but if anybody can handle it, they can. You know? Because they're used to weathering, like, out-of-control visitors coming down and trying to wreck the place, you know? Ivan's going to just bust in like, shows you did. You know? New Orleans going to be like, Ivan, you better chill. After you did in Jamaica, you're going to get in trouble, boy. The cops are fixing to lock your ass up. He's like, I'm sick. Okay, get it out. He's all right. He's just sick, officer. He ain't going to bother nobody. He's done with it. You know, don't we have any inventions yet that can stop these hurricanes? It's really bugging me. We've blown holes in the ozone layer. We melted the ice caps. We built dams so that the water is our bitch. It goes wherever we want it to. Yet a strong wind comes along, and we ask our top scientific minds, what should we do? Run. The hell? Things are getting crazy in Boston. Michael Moore went at it with Bill O'Reilly last night. Did you see the footage? It was crazy. No, I'm serious. Oh, Lord. No. Okay. I tried to TiVo last comic standing at taped the Democratic Convention. Ted Kennedy spoke. It's hard to take him seriously, that big, and from experience, that big fat Irish face, that deep sea driver that he is. Then Teresa Heinz Kerry's speech. Teresa Heinz Kerry got up and spoke. It was like her ketchup. It took forever and hardly anything came out. Then, whoa, that was hardcore. Michael Moore gave a speech in Cambridge where he said Canadians don't hate us, they just wish we'd read more. This is how upside down the world is. The onus is not on us to make the Canadians like us. Those boring bastards. That's like if I got naked with Jennifer Garner and I said, well, yeah, your body's all right, I'll do you. No. It's up to her to accept me and say, Colin, you're amazing. You know what the truth is? All jokes aside, I was being humble. I was pretending I was a regular ordinary. I probably could sleep with Jennifer Garner. Maybe not now. Maybe not now, but when I was on MTV and she was just starting out, you know, she'd be like, oh, hi, I really love your work. I'd be like, thank you. I'm sorry, what you... Jennifer, cool. Are you an actress? Well, I'm just starting. Well, it's a tough road, miss, you know. I just had the best rap. Wait. We can save this. But back to the demi-conveni. The demi-conveni was... I've seen more racial diversity on a ski lift than I saw at that convention. They brought out the one brother from Illinois, Barack Obama, kicking mad policy from ill. And then Ron Reagan Jr. got up and I was like, good for you, girlfriend, say it. And he goes, I want to talk about an issue that's very important to me that has divided our country. Republicans are against it, Democrats are for it. I was like, good, say it, admit it, you can do it, baby, you know, come on. And he goes, this is very important to me personally, it has effect on me. I was like, good, you know, it's going to be the gay marriage thing. He goes, stem cell research. Honey, oh boy, this anti-Americanism has gone too far. Now those dumb Germans are spitting at Lance Armstrong. Those Nazis must have amnesia. They may need one of those little reminder cards like the dentist sends you. Hey, Germany, haven't seen you for a while. If you need a cleaning, keep spitting on our national heroes. We'll give you a cleaning. In fact, we'll give you a cleansing. What's up? Well, I can't take it. These countries are really starting to get on my last. France, Germany. Did you hear Kofi Annan said this world is not safer now than 3 years ago and the Bush was wrong? Kofi, this phony bastard who's probably from Newark has the nerve to let his son violate sanctions and starve the Iraqis for oil deals. Now they're safer because the UN's not giving their food money to Saddam. I think anytime anybody talks about this country, we should blow up one of their soccer stadiums, and I'm not kidding. And anytime the UN badmouths us, we go right down the block to the UN and wait outside with baseball bats, all right? And Lance Armstrong, you're an inspiration to all of us. I've been following you for years. America loves you. I've never actually seen you do your thing because it's too boring to watch a bunch of dummies biking. I could go to the park and see it live, you know? But still, God bless you for wasting your life in that awful sport. I'll tell you, welcome to Tough Crowd. I saw the Emmys last night. It was wild. I had the Tough Crowd crew over. We got a little rowdy, I admit it. I bought a couple of 64-ounce Shasta cream sodas. A couple of meat lovers, you know. Little Breyers for afterwards, Breyers ice cream. But even we didn't think the Emmys would get as crazy as they got, you know? Like when Brad Garrett kissed Gary Shandling. I don't know if they planned that or what, but Gary Shandling looked surprised. Then they gave Brad Garrett an Emmy reward for that. Anyway, I'm glad Tony Soprano won. Yeah, if he hadn't won, he probably would have tried to whack somebody. Yeah, but there was some serious stuff, too. There was some pretty serious stuff, like last year with Friends, you know. Friends, now this year Joey ends up with Rachel. At first I was pissed but because of Ross, but then I started thinking about it, and he screwed her over a couple of times himself, so... I'll tell you, all the comedy bits were great last night, too. The only time I felt uncomfortable was when they brought out the American Idol people. I thought Simon was going to start goofing on people, the nominees, the way he does on the contestants on his show, you know? I like Paula and Randy, but that's Simon. I don't go for that insult humor, you know? I don't. I think that the thing that disappointed me the most last night, honestly, was during the telecast, I didn't have the guts to realize the business I've chosen and fling myself off the balcony like a man that won't sign over his publishing to Suge Knight. You know what I mean? I'm begging Hollywood now, no more award shows, just one, the Academy Awards. They all look the same. They're the same, all the clothes, all the speeches, all the shoes. Do you really want a country full of people talking about Badgley, Misha, and Chanel, and Jimmy Choo shoes? This country is turning into a big fat drag queen that sits at home stuffing its face and gossiping of what kind of earrings some skank from Malcolm in the Middle is wearing. Welcome to Tough Crowd. You know, folks, a CNN USA Today Gallup poll came out this morning that said the Democrats, most of them would beat Bush in the election if it was held today. General Clark would beat him. Howard Dean would come within 3 points. They said if Hillary comes in, she'd beat him. John Kerry'd beat him. They said Bin Laden would tie him. They said Hussein would lose the electoral but win the popular. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. I said this from the beginning. Bush needs to get a personality. His personality stinks. He's got fear and doubt in his eyes. He's got low self-esteem, and the Democrats smell blood. I believe I said this advice months ago. I'll tell you what he should do. Today, I don't know how he was in front of the UN. He should go up there and not even talk about Iraq. Just stretch, like act confident, like, hey, you know, what's up? Or come out, like get a massage like Mo Green and say, you don't buy me out, I buy you out, you know? Or like, we'll go the other way and just be like so friendly, like, France, come on, that was messed up. We're both crazy, come here. Hey, Brazil, you got my money, I'm joking, you know? But I feel spiritual because the Dalai Lama spoke in Central Park this past weekend. And they had in Central Park, the Dalai Lama had a big concert, they had a VIP section. Doesn't it sound spiritual when you can't get onto the sheep's meadow without a stamped hand and a Hilton sister next to you? Welcome to Tough Crowd. I like to do that like one of those plays where the guy talks off Broadway, you know, off stage. Folks, I'm not going to bomb like during the warm-up. Now listen to me. Welcome to Tough. The story today, what do you think, I'm deaf? I can hear silence. The story today is that the government is accused of using the Patriot Act to lock up some titty bar owner in Vegas. Now, a lot of people are screaming about the Patriot Act. I'll give you the list of the civil rights abuses connected to the Patriot Act. First of all, they can check what books people take out of the library. Everyone's like, the library, like it's a sacred... I grew up in the public library. It's a few sincere Asian kids trying to study. A couple of kids like me ripping the pages out of the books because they're selfish and they don't care and they don't want to make copies and steal the copy money that they had. And then the usual degenerates that would hang out in a place where kids like have to use the bathroom and have bodily functions, you know? That's the library, the great sacred library. Next in the Patriot Act, the Orwellian, you got access to medical records and college transcripts. Woo! What could you possibly have to hide in either of these stupid forms? That you got to C in economics and then chlamydia twice? All right. 3 times if I'm going to be honest, but look.
Hi, folks.
Well, Bush won. I think it's a good lesson for the media in Hollywood. The lesson is don't lecture people and don't tell them what to do as if you know what's best for them. It's arrogant, and then people do the opposite. Do you hear me? Kerry gave a very classy and graceful speech, though. I don't respect that. I'm a sore loser. I am. I'm a sore loser. I wanted him to come out and start stomping around and throw down the mic and be like, damn. And then, like, smack John Edwards. You didn't do anything the whole time. Where were you? You know? Because he didn't. Where was John Edwards this whole election? And Bush gave a very gracious speech saying he wanted to reach out to all the people that voted for Kerry. I don't respect that either. You know? I wanted to get up there and say, all you people that voted against me, I'm going to make sure no flu shots as long as I'm president. I'm going to get all your names and draft your kids in Iraq. I want to kill you people just thinking about how you didn't vote for me. I want to kill them. And then catch himself and be like, you people that voted for me, thank you. Thank you, man. Seriously, you're the greatest. You're great. Thank you. Okay, I got a jet. Thank you very much.